Hey everyone, we got Ygni yesterday, and today, as per usual, we're gonna have a closer look at the latest global exclusive fan unit. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So Ygni in his, or its base form, the issue with Ygni and his gender is he's genderless, so I should probably say they or them, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how to do this yet, so I most likely say Ygni all the time. So Igni's base form is supposed to be a chain finisher, because the last hit actually does finishing-esque stuff. And Ygni is also a support unit with various kinds of things, breaks and shots as such. We'll take a look at it in just a second. And in the Brave Shift, Ygni is an LB, in brackets purposefully chain, and in brackets again finisher, because Ygni can do it all, but the LB isn't all that good anyway. So yeah, and as you can see from this list of abilities, it is bad. I mean, it's the opposite bad of Tifa and Sephiroth. They only have like 3 abilities, and Ygni has a billion abilities. So let's check out this mess of abilities that we see here. So dagger break for break bars, which are not a feature anymore. We've got a little bit of fire damage that scales with morale, which is nice, 810x total. We've got also some elementless things with reciprocal incantation, laws of nature, for example. Those are all pretty decent, right? The laws of nature also has 100% fairy human killer, which would have been nice 2 months ago for the Morgana challenge. So maybe Ygni was supposed to come out during that time, who knows? And I'd like to point your attention down below here to the Seared Wisdom ability. That one is rather interesting as it adds fire element to one ally, 30% fire amp, more resistance 100%, and fire absorption, which is cool. But it's only, well, one ally and not all allies. I would have liked all allies, would have been a lot better. Especially because the Brave Shift has the same, but all allies for dark. So I feel like this is kind of eh. But also very cool, we saw this in the preview, the Gemini enchant, which makes her copy status effects from herself to all allies except herself, so she does not refresh these buffs. And the buffs are statuses, so attack, magic, defense, and spirit. She also spreads the killers to all the team, and elemental imbues. What she does not spread are resistances, for example. Those are not spread, so it's a discount version of projected mirror for Mastermind Zone, basically. She also cannot steal with this ability, yeah. It's only half as good as it sounds, honestly. But the real kicker here is increased modifier 10x for 3 turns to all allies, which can't be dispelled. I like that. And it's all abilities except for limit bursts. Now we will get units that can increase LB mods in the future, but for now, especially in Clash of Wilds with Louise and Ygni, we do have now 2 units, and Elena for that matter too. We have 3 units that really want to chain, and having 10x increase on chaining moves, that is pretty sweet, especially because it applies to every single cast of yours, meaning Ygni having a pentacast, which Ygni can unlock. It is pretty sweet. So yeah, oh yeah, here it is. It's on Vitality Fountain. It's 5 magic principles. That's his, or its pentacast unlock. But again, we don't have that many pentacast casters, so this might be a little bit tricky to pull off. But it's possible. It's possible. Other than that, outside Clash of Worlds, we do have that 250x debilitating hex, for example, or the 100x fire modifier attack. There are a few decent ones. Especially the energy calibration comes to mind, which is flexible element using physical killers indicated by the star next to magic. It is good, right? It's a 200x modifier attack when stacked properly. That's not too shabby. Passive side of things, let's zoom out again. That's more easily readable. Ygni gains 70% mag if Ygni is wearing a dagger. Also has 200 fairy killer and 100 human killer innately, which is cool. Alright, the base LB is, well, needless to say, it's very underwhelming. Fire magic, physically typed, 125x, yeah, bad. Moving on. Brave Shift, another very long list of abilities. I do want to point out the most important ones here. Shrouding Veil for Dark Visions is your mostly go-to ability. 920x modifier in total, with the finishing move being Seal of Doom, which is a 1110x modifier in Dark Visions, which also happens to break the boss. This defense and spirit by 85%, but all things considered, we do use Louise in Clash of Wills regardless, so Ygni will profit from that 90% spirit break of Louise in that regard and really hit hard with that ability. Now again, Pentacast, it is going to be very hard to pull off that Pentacast with Seal of Doom at the end of it. We may actually want to use Quadcast such that it actually fits into Louise's Quadcast. But we'll see, maybe there is a way to make this work regardless. Especially when we're using Elena and a second bolting strike chainer anyway. Things might be still doable if we time that bolting strike such that Ygni actually hits last in that bolting strike frame, or I don't know. It's probably possible, it's just going to be very annoying. We also have a cool ability, the Secret of Life, which deals 1x damage and MP drains. Funnily to one ally, not the enemy. So, but it also removes all debuffs from all allies, which I personally like because it has no downside, right? It removes all debuffs, but it doesn't put them onto Ygni. For example, Erasure does that, and it's fine, but outside trials or any other shenanigans, this might come in or might be rather dangerous. Okay. Oh, by the way, almost forgot. We also got Soul Projection, which is her very strong modifier attack, flex element. It is, let me just quickly check this. It is a 250x modifier in total, because you have to take, or it's more than that even. It's rather good though, don't get me wrong, it's super strong. Should be 250 though. And yeah. Alright. Also another notable thing, 50% fire, dark amplification for herself, but her floating shadow is a dark imbue for the whole party, which is cool, and also 30% dark amp for the party. Now, Sephiroth has 50% on his own, but you can amplify and imbue units such as Zidane, Elena, Ling, etc, with this, and Sky for that matter too, in Clash of Wills, so that is really cool. Passive side of things, nothing really interesting other than having 6x chain cap increase innately, which is nice, so no STMR from lightning needed. Also passive guts, which is cool. And the Brave Shift, while it reads pretty well with the 25 hits and may suggest that you can actually do this as a chain, it's a super quick succession hit, just like Ibarra's base LB, just one frame delay between all the hits, so don't try to make this work, it's not going to work. But what we're gonna need this for is the 135 Dark and Fire in parallel, right? So internally, Ygni is the best friend of Sephiroth in that regard, as Sephiroth himself only has at 125 Dark in parallel, and you have to use his base LB for that. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. Other than that, the damage is quite bad at 75x with 50% ignore. That's like, who cares? Alright, let's check out the Trustmaster and Super Trustmaster of Ygni. So the Trustmaster is a materia with 50% magic and 20% HP if Ygni or the wearer of the materia is wearing a dagger. And there's also a plus version. You need to do a few quests for that, or one quest in specific for that, and you can access the recipe for the plus version via the quest tab. You go to the right, I believe 1 or 2 times, and you can see the mission for that. It's just element chains, so you will get it eventually. But yeah, the material itself, especially the plus version, is quite welcome, especially the true dual wield magic that is rather rare still these days. But if you only have the non-plus version, right, so the base version, that one is bad and mostly useless. We don't need mag passive without anything else. We want killers, we want LB damage, and not just flat out magic with some HP. It's just eh. The STMR of Ygni is a dagger with 100 attack and 180 magic, 20% HP, and 50% true dual wield magic. So yeah, it is low magic, it has no LB damage, it has no killers. While the true dual wield mag is nice to have, it is less valuable than killers. But I mean, it is good for Ygni because Ygni only has 150% true dual wield mag innately, so putting this on Ygni actually caps out the true dual wield mag. And yeah, that's why a single copy is enough. You probably won't ever need more than that. And then there's the vision card. The vision card has a rather cool animation. I'll let this play. It's a 110 base magic vision card, 80% magic if you're wearing a dagger. Also has 50% physical and magical spirit killer on it, which is rather nice. Although it's only for FFBE units, so that's the only downside, but we do have more than enough decent FFBE units these days. Alright, so yeah, it's a great card for FFBE units, nice killer passive, and it's a good card in general, I would say. I'm not that worried about the longevity of the card. I mean, yeah, we have 115 magic card from Luis, but this is still pretty good. Alright, and now it's time for the damage calculations. So the usual assumptions, right, 90% defense, spirit break, 400% stat buffs, 300 LB buff, the usual water amps or the usual amplifications. I added dark now with a 135 dark and peril down below. Other than that, fairly standard if you've watched my previous review videos. These are 2 exemplary Ygni builds that we're going to take a look at. One is a build with Ygni's own STMR, that's why the second spot is empty, and there's an arrow pointing towards this, which states own STMR. This would be the gear then. You would, the own vision card would belong into his actual dagger build, not into the rod build. And there's also the rod build, which is a little bit harder to gear because you are missing out on the 70% magic build, magic passive from wearing daggers. English. Alright, so yeah, these are the 2 builds we're looking at. Calculated, they are super close to each other, so don't sweat it if you don't have Ygni's STMR, for example, super close. The Sky build, which should look familiar to you. The Sky Dragoon build, which we're not going to look at anymore, but I was too lazy to put this out. We have the Sephiroth builds, a few more builds that we're going to look at. Magic builds. I also updated Terra in this build here. As you can see, she's now using her upgraded sword, which gives her more magic, but the rest is the same. Oh, and I'm also using Celis's vision card because Celis vision card clocks in higher damage for Terra. So if you have Celis's vision card, you should use this on your Terra. And this is the result. So if you're looking for Ygni, Ygni is just below Noctis over here. So the double rod build, as you can see, it's just 4 million ahead of the rod plus STMR build, so it doesn't really do that much to go for a full rod build, because the dagger plus rod build uses mixed weapon imperils, 25 dagger imperil, 35% rod imperil, combined it's 30%. The damage difference shouldn't be that eligible, especially because we can't use GF extension in the double rod build, so that is why the STMR plus rod build is so close. Still, for a chaining unit, it is a very good result. And keep in mind, this is pentacasted, and this is just 4 times dark damage and Soul of Doom, or whatever the ability is called. In Clash of Wilds, you have to keep in mind, Ygni has that 1110x. You have to add plus 10 to that from that one ability. It is crazy strong, so dual cast already is higher than this damage we are looking at here. So in Clash of Wilds, Ygni is going to clap real hard. So yeah, main draw of Ygni is definitely Clash of Wilds. It's still decent results outside of Clash of Wilds, but honestly, Ygni really is just a unit that makes Sephiroth hit harder. Especially if you compare this to last week's result, or 2 weeks ago result, Sephiroth now has 300 million more damage, which is just the 135 Imperil, Dark Imperil from Ygni that is doing this. So it's a good result for Sephiroth. Ygni also conveniently buffs Ibarra's damage, but I don't have Ibarra on this slide anymore because she deals less damage than all of these units on this list. Alright, so how does Ygni fare in the meta? In Clash of Wilds, Ygni is a top tier damage dealer for fire and dark alike, and it's safe to assume that the next Clash of Wilds boss is going to be weak to fire and dark, meaning we will definitely see use of Ygni in that fight. Outside Clash of Wilds, Ygni deals decent damage, not top tier damage, but does strong fire and dark support, especially with the 135 fire and dark Imperil. I don't know why I wrote her, but makes Ygni good for certain units such as Sephiroth. And Ygni is rather easy to gear. So I also had she in here, but I guess it's fair. I called Ygni him at the beginning, so her now is fine, I guess. So we got it all covered. All binary and non-binaries are covered in this review. Look at how progressive I am with this. Anyways, yeah, if you want to be highly competitive in Clash of Wilds, go get her. Or go get Ygni. Great unit to boost dark damage and dark visions, but a minor side grade to Venera. Venera also does some dark amplification, has the higher breaks, so yeah, I would say Ygni is a great off-banner to get. But it's hard to chain with Ygni due to the pentacast, so you're forced to run either a dupe, which you can't in Clash, or Dark Visions, or magically make the chain work somehow, which is super cumbersome in Dark Visions and Clash of Wilds. But it's possible, but not without macros. And that is pretty much the end of this review. So thank you all for watching, and best of luck if you decide to pull for Ygni. And we'll see each other tomorrow for more Dark Visions. Bye bye.